You want the glitz and the glam, but did you add happiness into that plan? For such a genuine gem, thank you for clicking on my Wicked Winter series. I'm Brooke Makenna, but this is about the Christmas murder mansion. So for many, a mansion in the hills in Los Angeles, California is the ultimate dream, but it can't save you from everything. And in fact, in this case, it did the very opposite. It's not really the American dream come true, is it? Now, if you don't know, I am posting 31 days of continuous content this winter and would love to see you back here tomorrow for more. So if you want the notification, please make sure you are subscribed with the post notification bell on. Now let's get back to the story. This horrific story began on December 6th of 1959 in Los Angeles, California, in the hills of Griffith Park. It was a mansion called Los Feliz at 2475 Glendover Place. It was a beautiful Spanish-style home with a library, a giant dining area, and a ballroom with a bar. It was a mansion for a celebrity, and this family was actually pretty normal who lived there. But they were about to get so much publicity, but for all the wrong reasons, because not everyone was going to come out of that night alive. Dr. Harold Perelson was a cardiologist who lived there, who was born February 1st of 1909 in New York City. He went on to meet his wife Lillian, and they lived there together with their 3 kids, 18-year-old Judy, 13-year-old Joel, and 11-year-old Debbie. On December 5th, Lillian had eaten green beans for dinner, and then she headed off to bed, having no idea that at 4:30 a.m. the next morning, she would be struck. The mansion was supposedly already decorated for Christmas when the murders began. She was struck while sleeping with a ball-peen hammer, which basically just doesn't have the curve into the hammer, and she was instantly dead with an inch hole in the back of her head. She didn't even have time to scream, but she suffocated in her own blood. And covered in blood, her husband walked from the conjoining bathroom of their bedroom to their eldest daughter Judy's room and began to strike her as well. But in the dark room, he missed because he had slippery blood all over his hands, and she woke up screaming. Her screams were so loud that she woke up her 2 siblings, and she was screaming, "Don't kill me." But her father just told her to sit still and to be quiet, but she wasn't gonna do that. She eventually slipped away from him, and she ran to go find her mother, because that's what you do as a child in an emergency. You go find your mother. She ran into the bedroom and found her mother already dead. And in this nightmare of a moment, she got enough courage to run downstairs and out the door to get help. She ran to the neighbors' houses, banging on the doors, and nobody was opening them, and then finally one did. The thing was, all of the neighbors were already awake because they had heard her scream. They said it sounded like a wild animal, and one of the neighbors was even their babysitter, who knew that it was Judy, but they were frozen in fear and didn't answer the door. Judy was smearing blood over all of their windows, but finally a man named Marshall Ross opened the door. Once he saw Judy, he immediately called the police, and then together Marshall and Judy headed back over to the mansion. What they found was the front door that looked like a mass of blood and a smiling gargoyle in the front lawn. Marshall actually confronted Harold, who told him to go home and to not bother him. Harold had been walking around smearing blood everywhere, including in the bathroom where he had gone to down pills. He had managed to rip open 2 capsules of Nebutal or death in a bottle and put them in his water and drank it. And he also took 30 pills thought to be codeine. Then he walked back to him and his wife's bedroom and lay down next to her dead body, still clutching the hammer he had used to kill her and tried to use on the rest of his family. Because the younger kids, Joel and Debbie, they survived. They had heard their sister's screams, and they had come out when their sister was going to get help, and actually came face to face with their father. Their father didn't kill them. He only said, "This is a nightmare. Go back to bed." But unfortunately, their mother was not spared from this tragedy. But once the police got there, they found a clue that could possibly have been a message left from Harold before he died. There was a book called Dante's Divine Comedy left open on Canto 1, and it read, "Midday upon the journey of our life I find myself within a forest dark, for the straightforward pathway had been lost." But they didn't necessarily have an idea of why he wanted to murder his family or his motive until they found a letter that Judy had written to her aunt before the murders. It said, "My parents, so to speak, are in a bind financially. My family are on a merry-go-round again. Same problems, same worries, only tenfold." She had wrote this because she was worried. She had a sports car, she loved clothes, she loved shopping, and she was worried that that would be taken from her. Harold had been an injection specialist and had actually invented a new and improved syringe that was injected straight from the glass cylinder, which helped with contamination. And he had spent a large chunk of their money to develop it. And his partner Shoestack, who had helped get him a patent, had swindled him out of the entire thing by the time they got it done because they only had a verbal agreement. There was a lengthy legal battle after that, but they had sued for $100,000 and only got $20,000 back. And around this time, Judy and the younger siblings had all gotten into a car accident as well. They had gotten into an accident at Vermont and Felice, and the driver said that it wasn't his fault, but Joel had a head injury and Debbie had a sliced cheek, and so Harold sued the driver. But once again, they lost more money in the actual trial than they received, and they were slowly running out of money. His friends and neighbors said that Harold had suffered from several coronaries, which is basically like little heart attacks, blockage of blood to the heart, and a blood clot, but it had really been all a lie. He had been at the hospital so many times because of his multiple suicide attempts. His wife Lillian found him every time and took him to the hospital, but she had wanted to commit him into a psychiatric ward before she died. But the children thankfully did survive. However, they never spoke on the subject of the crimes, and they never even retrieved their belongings from the home. It was thought that they had been taken in by an aunt, but then they just disappeared. They weren't seen ever again, and even after years of people trying to search for them, they cannot find out where they went. It is said that everything in that house stayed exactly the way it was for years, including the Christmas tree and wrapped presents. However, some people that knew the Perelsons said that that wasn't their tree because they were actually Jewish. And it's said that there was possibly people who rented the house after the murders who didn't know about what happened and who had a Christmas tree and set it all up, but then the night that the murders had happened, December 6th, of that year where they were staying there, some strange occurrences happened and they fled the house so quickly that they left the tree standing. But in 1960, a different couple purchased the home named Emily and Julian Enriquez, and they refused to live in it at all. They just used it for storage, an entire mansion that they did not touch from back when the murders had happened. They just used for storage. But when Emily died in 1994, her son actually got it, but he wouldn't live there either, and he said, "I don't know that I want to live there or even stay there." But he passed away in 2015, and the house that had barely changed from 1959 went back on the market. Several people have broken in throughout the years, of course, to trespass and to just see what's inside, including paranormal investigators who say that there was a definite chilling feeling and menacing feelings inside, and they would see orbs and hear a woman screaming no. Some have even seen ghostly faces looking at them through the mansion windows. And the weird thing was, before the Perelsons even moved into that house, a writer lived there. He was 21 years old when he got an infection from a tennis game, and he died there on December 6th. The same day of the murders later on. But in 2015, it was listed for $2.75 million and listed as beautiful and delightful, and a couple purchased it. but they know about the past and they're not at all concerned with it. In fact, they want to live there. Still, nobody knows what happened to those kids. Some say that Joel moved to Israel and won't speak to anybody, and that Judy has changed her name several times but still lives somewhere in the area. However, no information on Debbie has ever been found. For years, there were dirt-covered broken dolls and rocking chairs that were rusting all over this house, and with everything still set up from the night of the murders, it seems like a horror movie. And that's why there might just be one in the works. But overall, it reminds me so much of the John List murders that was turned into a movie as well that we talked about a few days ago. And overall, any family murders like this that happen within the family are the most disturbing to me. But do you think these paranormal experiences could really be happening in this house? And would you be able to live there or in a house where you knew a tragedy had occurred? And what do you think about the children? Did they disappear to get away from their dark past, or did something bad happen to them as well? I sure hope not, and I hope for their sake they found peace away from the entire thing. But what I'm really interested in is why in the world Harold did not kill the younger two siblings. I'm so thankful that he didn't, but why? Did he get nervous because he knew that Judy had left the house? He saw them, and they saw him. Did he start to change his mind because he told them to go back to bed? Oh, just a chilling question I wanted to leave you with. Remember, I am posting every single day this month, so I will see you tomorrow. So if you want to see me, please come back. And don't ever forget to speak up. Your voice is powerful enough, and I love you to absolute pieces. Okay, bye. Is there any coming back from a breaking point? I'm not sure you'll ever be the same when you've been so close to the insane.